What's going on, my fellow web developers? My name is Tyler Potts, and in today's video we're going to be building this cool little color palette generator. So as you can see here, we have this cool little press space to generate a new palette. Now we can either click this button to generate a palette, or we can just hit the actual space bar to generate a palette. Once we see a color we like, we can actually hit this lock button, click off it, and then just click space, and that one will never change while the rest of them change. But as you can see here, we've got this other color. Let's copy that. Let's keep going. Bam, and that one, and let's get a final one. There we go. And good color. We're gonna get a good one. Probably not. We'll take the dark one. There you go. Now we've got a whole set, and if we hit space, nothing happens. If we click this button, nothing happens. And as you can see here, it's basically pretty cool. It's also mobile responsive. So you can see it goes all the way down here. And if we unlock this one, you can see it still works as normal. Or you can click the actual space button here to actually generate it as well. So if you was on mobile, you'd probably need to hit this. So yeah, that's kind of how it works. So guys, if you're ready and excited, and don't forget to get your snacks and your drinks, and yeah, we'll get started. Just to let you know, I'm going to be using a little icon here. It's an SVG. You can find these inside of the repository in lock closed.svg and lock open.svg. Both of them are in there, so you can go get it here at the YouTube JavaScript color gen area. Link will be in the description, most likely, if I don't forget. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay guys, so as you can see, we've got a blank directory and the color palette generator on the left side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up my terminal here, and that's really annoying, it goes right to the edge. Let's close this sidebar here, and what we're going to do is I'm going to run npm i-g live surfer. Now I've already got this installed, so it's going to take 2 seconds for mine to actually do, but what it's going to do is install a HTML live surfer, so it hot refreshes for you. You don't have to install this, you can just double click the HTML file if you want to, but I just want to show you a cool thing if you want it. So in here, let's just create the files we need before we start the server. So I'm going to create a HTML, a main.css, and a main.javascript, and then what I'm going to do is just in here give it the default template stuff. Let's close that sidebar. We'll just say color generator, and we'll just link up the file. So we'll say link main.css, and at the bottom here we'll have a script source of main.js. There you go. So that's all set. And then if we now open back up our terminal, I can run live-surfer in the current directory, hit enter, and that's going to run a surfer. As you can see here, we can close that one. And now any changes we make, you will see will appear immediately over on the right side without actually having to refresh it. So that's a win-win. So this tutorial is going to split into 3 parts, as most HTML, CSS, and JavaScript tutorials. So we're going to start off with the JavaScript, start backwards. We're going to start off with the HTML. We're then going to move on to CSS, and then finally we're going to get into JavaScript. So I should hopefully have some links to each section when they start. So hopefully just keep your eye out in the description for those. So I'm going to start with a main tag. And in here, I'm just going to have a h1 color generator. Thank you very much. We're going to have a paragraph tag, which is just going to say press. And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to give it a button. I'm going to remove the actual space around that. And I'm going to say space. We'll give it a class. And we'll set the class to generator button. So press space to generate a random color or a random color palette. To generate a new color palette. There you go. That's all there. So you can see we've got this little press space, and yeah, we'll style that in a moment. So we've got that. Let's add a h4, which just say the generator, so we can see the actual text below. And then we're going to have a diff with the class of colors And inside there, we're going to have a singular color element, which will have in there a button, which will be called lock toggle. So this is how we're going to toggle the actual lock. And then we're going to have an image, which will be icon slash, and we'll just say lock open to start with. And we don't actually need the alt tag or anything like that. We'll then add an input. We're going to say type of text. The name and ID does not matter, but we do want a little class on here, which will be called color input. Feels right. And then we'll have a value equal to hash 0000000, just to start with, just so it has some sort of value in there. You can see in the right here, it's actually showing it on the left, which hopefully looks cool for you guys. And then underneath, and then underneath we're going to have one last button, and this is just going to have the class of copy hex, and it's just going to say copy. And there you go. That's what we need. So we're going to have this 4 times because we're going to start off with 4 colors. Now we could dynamically generate each one in JavaScript. So actually just say, cool, we want 4 colors and post these all out. But I'm just going to do it like this. This works. And then I think that is all we need for our markups. As you can see, that's all the HTML we need. The rest of this is going to be done in glorious CSS and the powerful JavaScript. So let's head over to the CSS. Now, inside of here, we're going to have some crazy stuff going on. We're going to be using CSS variables. I know, we're crazy, right? So we're going to add a primary color, and this is going to be of hashtag D8, 1E5D. I think that's pink. Is it pink? Yes, I remembered. We're going to have a secondary color, and no, it's not going to be hashtag F5. That would not be a cool color. We're going to go 8A, 4FFF. Purple, yes. So we've got a good little purple and pink there. And no, we don't want a third color. We actually want a light color, which will be a EEE. We then want a dark color, which will actually be more for 1E2F42. Should be a dark blue. There we go. And let's just add a gray to basically look nicer. We're going to say AAA. There we go. So they're the CSS variables. Now I'll show you how you use these along the way. We're just going to quickly set some global variables: box size and border box, margin 0 and padding 0, and then we're just going to have a font family of Fira, Sans, and sans serif. There we go, sans serif. There you go. Looks much better already. There you go. It's done. Go to the body. We're going to have background dark. No, we're going to have background light. Although dark would be pretty cool. Maybe we'll try it towards the end and we'll have to look what an inverted color looks like. We're then going to have a main tag, and inside of the main tag, we're going to have some padding. You know, we need it to look good. We're going to have 4 rem on top because we want to push it down, and 2 rem on the sides. Now, what rem is? It basically is a multiplier of your base font. So the base body font, or the parent font, should I say, is what rem does. The relative font is 16 pixels by default. And if we change this, so you can see, look at the padding. If we said this is 24, you can see everything goes huge. But everything will change based on the relative size. So here, if we said the font size here was 24 pixels, there you go. You can see everything change. It all changes. It's crazy, right? Rem is crazy. We won't talk more about that. That's a different topic. But anyway, we're going to have a max width, not of 800, we'll say 1200 pixels. I feel like 1200 is a good size. And then margin 0, auto, nice. So now if we stretch this out, you can see at a certain point, it will no longer get any wider, which is fine with me. There we go. Let's leave that like that. Let's then do a H1, and we're going to give this the color of far dark. We're going to have this as font size 2.5 rem. Let's go 3 rem. Oh, 4 rem. No, 3 rem. That looks good. We will have a font weight of 900 because, you know, 900 is a good dark, big font. Margin bottom of 1 rem because we're going to push that text down. And also, I just want a text transform of uppercase. There we go. That's looking good. Although it's a bit too big. Let's say, did I zoom in? Am I zoomed in or something? This shouldn't be too big, should it? No, it's too big. We'll say 2.5 rem. They were right. I was wrong. Bam. There we go. Looking much better. So we've got color generator. We're then going to have a H. No, it's a paragraph, isn't it? What's underneath? It's paragraph. I can see that from the right side. And color far gray. Good job. Good test. good work. Font size, we're going to add a font size of 1.125 rem, so that's about 18 pixels if we're set at 16 pixels. And then a margin bottom of 2 rem, just to push that button down. There we go. Looking much better already. But one thing, the button, like, come on, that looks ugly. That space button looks ugly. Let's just say button or generator button, generator button. And we're just going to say color for primary. Let's just say font size inherit. Well, you know, get from the parent above. We're going to give it a font weight of, font weight of 700. That's too big. Who wanted that? And then we're going to give it a background color. So we're going to actually use a linear gradient here, and it's going to be to bottom right. We're going to have far primary and far secondary. So you can see that's looking pretty cool. We also need to go at the top here, just under this. We're going to say button and input. We're going to have some resets. So we're going to say the appearance. Am I spelling that right? None. That's perfect. We're going to have a border of none, an outline none, and a background. Oh, it didn't go background of none. Bam, so that's already looking a bit better. And then we just want we actually want to go to the button specifically and say cursor pointer, just like that. Now, I think that should be good. But we should also have color inherit here as well, because we want most of our things to get from the parent. So color inherit, there we go, cursor pointer, and there we go. Now you're probably thinking that still looks terrible, Tyler. Well, yes, there's one last thing we need to do. We need to go here, WebKit. Why did I do 2 of those? It's because I was thinking of variable. WebKit, background, clip, and we're gonna say text. So you can see, you know, it's looking right, but then we need to just go WebKit, again, WebKit, text, fill color, and this will be transparent. And there you go. You can see we've got the gradient all there ready to go. And then we're going to add a transition to this, and we're going to say 0.4 ease out. And then we're going to have a hover state for this. So let's just scroll down. We'll say dot generator button on hover, and we'll just say no, we don't want that. We just want some padding left of 0.5 rem and padding right of 0.5 rem, and nothing else. There you go. And when we hover, you can see it kind of gives it some space, so it kind of emphasizes the word space. And there you go, that's looking pretty cool if I do say so myself. What do you guys think? Do you like it? Let me know in the comments. Let's go down to the H4 now. So that H4 underneath generator, we're going to have color, no, we're going to have that as a gray. Text transform uppercase, font weight 900? No, 700. It's already 700, but it's fine. We'll set that again. And we'll give it a margin bottom of 1 rem. There we go. So that's looking all right. It's looking all right. We need a font size too. We need a font size 1.5 rem. Bam. There we go. That's looking good, isn't it? There we go. There you go. It's, you know, styling is an art, and we are doing art right now. So above here, we're just going to say dot colors, and we're going to set this to display grid. We're then going to give this a grid template columns. I know it's giving me it to auto repeat there, but I don't want to do that. I want to repeat one FR. I know I've done it in repeat. I should have just done it as a plain one, and grid gap of 1 rem. But there's a reason for that. You know, we're going to go to color, and we're going to leave that as that for now. What we want to do is we want to go at media min width. So once we get to a certain width, 768 pixels, we're then going to say the colors grid gap template is 2, and then we're going to do a at media min width of 1024 pixels. And let me guess, colors and grid template 3. No, we want 4. Come on, get with the times. And then if you can see here on the right, if we just bring this out, you can see it goes to 2 and then it goes to 4. There we go. That's nice. Perfect. So that's what we want. So we're just using CSS grid here. If you don't know what grid is, I highly recommend checking out CSS grid by CSS tricks. Just type it in Google. It'll come up. It'll be first. They've got great SEO. But yeah. Check that out. It's definitely a great article to read if you want to learn it. So display flex, we're going to say align item center. justify content space between, not center. And there you go, that's already looking better. We will say padding of not 1 rem. Well, 1 rem, 0.5 rem. That's about right. Yeah, that looks good. Border radius will be 1 rem, not 25 rem, because that would just be completely round. So 1 rem, and let's give everything a color, which is in here off white. Yeah, it's gonna look a bit weird. And then we'll give a background color by default of far dark. So it'll just be by default that color. That's looking good. Also, is that right? We need a transition on this because we're gonna have some animation. So we'll say 0.4 ease out, right? There we go, nice. And then we're gonna add a border to this. Now, I'll explain why a bit later on, but we're gonna say transparent, 2 pixels transparent, just because we don't, I'm gonna add a border when we click copy for only a few seconds, but I don't want it to jump. I want it to, I don't want it to grow bigger. I want it to be bigger, but the color just to fade in and out. So that's why we're doing this, if that makes sense. So we're actually gonna say color.copied, and we're just gonna say border 2 pixel, or border color basically, and we could just say red. I just want to go a bit red, maybe red will work, but you won't see that until it's done. Well, I guess I could just add it on, but no, we're not gonna do it. You'll see it when it's done. We'll see once we get to the JavaScript section. So there you go, that's the color section all done, I believe. So now we just need to go to our lock toggle. So did we call it lock toggle? What did we call it? Lock toggle, we did. So we're gonna say lock toggle, and we're just gonna say opacity 0.5 to start with, because we don't want it to, you know, too big, and we're gonna have transition to 0.4. And there we go, that should be good. And then we're gonna have .lock toggle is locked, and then once that is locked, we're gonna give it an opacity of 1, because you know, once you know, you want to show people that it's locked. Like, look here, my thing is locked. That's what we're gonna do. And then we're just gonna have color input, and we're just gonna text align center. There you go, and that brings it to the middle. So now it doesn't look uneven. Bam. I think that's all the coloring we actually need to do, right? Oh no, I tell you what we need to do is on the bigger screens, we want this to be stacked and not sat like this. So let's go back quickly. And on this one, color, yep, this one, we're gonna go under this, we're gonna say color, and we're gonna say flex direction column. So that should bring them below. We're gonna say align items center, which I think it already is, but we'll just make sure it's set. And there we go. So now let's go like this. Give me that. Give me the toggle. Bam. There we go. And there you go. On this screen, you can see they're now stacked on top of each other, although they definitely need some spacing. So we're going to say .color input, because it's the middle item. We're just going to say margin top 1 rem, margin bottom 1 rem, 1 rem. And now let's have a look. One last look when we make it. Oh, I did it wrong. And I just press Control-Z instead. Let's snap this to the side, and then there we go. And there you go. You can see it's now stacked on top and looks good. So there we go. But also, yeah, we need that font, that color generator to get bigger on different sides. So let's go here. We'll say H1 font size 4 rem. So now once we get a bit bigger, bam, there you go. Looks much better. Looks much better. You know, you got to make those titles bold and, you know, transparent. But anyway, transparent and, you know, bold. Here we go. So that is the CSS done, guys. That's everything we need. So it's looking good. But now we need to add the functionality. So let's head over to our JavaScript and just quickly double check. We have linked it at the bottom here. So we should not need any window load or anything like that. Now we're going to do something. We're going to create a class to work with the color. So each color will have a hex color, an element, and a this is locked or this.locked element. So we're going to have the color element, the actual HTML element, so the whole thing, and then also the locked. And I'll explain why once we get it. But let's just say here color. So a class color, and we're going to have a constructor that takes the hex and also the element. Now this is going to say this.hex and this.element. We also want to say this.locked is equal to false, because we want it to be not locked by default. We're then going to have a variable called hex, and we're going to take a hex in, and it's going to say this.hex and the background color. So you can see here this.element, we're going to get that, and we're going to set its background color to whatever the hex currently is. We're also going to say this.element.query selector. And we're going to say dots color input dot value is equal to hex. So if we change the hex color, I'm just going to zoom out one just there, just so you can see it in one line. So if we change the hex color, you'll also go, basically, if we go in here and we just start changing this, I want it to basically update in here. Well, I'll explain later, but basically just do this. It'll work out in the end. Let's just break this down as well so it looks a bit neater. Cool. And there we go. That looks a bit better. And then I can zoom back in. There we go. All right, so set hex, and then we're going to have set locked. Oh, look at that. It's already given me a... Okay, it's not letting me hit tab. It's fine. We'll say set locked, and we'll set... Is my tab broken? Oh, there it is. It was just really slow. And we'll write this out ourselves, because I don't want to use good old Copilot to do this. If locked, we'll take that, and then we'll say this. Yes, that's what we want to do. God damn it. Stop doing everything right. Let me guess, this element removed. Perfect. Good job. Stop stealing my job, Copilot. All right, now we're going to go in there and we're going to say this dot element. We're then going to say dot query selection. I mean, that's interesting, but that's not what we want. Selector, and this time we're actually going to get the image. So we're going to say image because there's only one image in here. It's the SVG. So we'll say dot image dot class list dot add. No. We want source, don't we? What am I doing? We want to change the source and we want to sell it to not images. This will be icon. Let's open up the side. Let's have a look. What's it called? It's called icons lock open and close. There we go. So icons lock, and this is a locked one. So we're going to say closed, and then we're going to copy this, bring it down here. Bam, break that down just because for neatness, and bring this down because for neatness, and there we go. We're gonna say locked open. Oh, and that should say SVG as well, not PNG, and I think that's good. So let me just look at this for a second. It looks good, right? I think that's right. It's gotta be right. And then we're gonna have a function called toggle locked. So we're actually just gonna have a custom function that's basically just going to say, it's going to get this dot set locked is equal to this dot locked. So it's just going to go here and it's just going to reverse whatever the current locked situation is. Just so we have a function to do this as well. So we can sell it manually and we can also toggle it, which is nice, you know, easy. And then we're going to have generate hex. So we're going to say generate hex. And this is where we're going to do the color generation. So guys, prepare yourself for this. We're going to say if this dot locked, right? If it's locked, then we're just going to return nothing. We don't want to do anything if it's already locked. We're then going to have a constant called characters, which is just going to be a string of from 0 to 9 and A to F. You know, all the characters you can have in a hex code. Thanks, Copilot, for helping me there. And then we'll finally go say let hex equal to a hashtag. We're then going to say 4. Oh, it did it for me. And then we're going to go for 6 because obviously there's 6 elements inside of a hex code, so we're going to go to that, and then we're just going to go hex plus is equal to characters math.floor math.random times 16. So there you go. So obviously 16 is the characters in here, math.random obviously so we can get a random number in here, and we're going to floor it so it's it gives us a flat number and not a decimal place. And there you go. And then this is now what happened. What did I do? There we go. And then under here we're just basically going to go this dot set hex, and we're just going to pass through the new hex, and there you go. So that's all we're going to do for generating a color. It's pretty simple. As you can see, there's nothing major to it. There's no algorithms or anything. We're not checking, you know, we're not trying to make sure all the colors match or anything. That would be a bigger feat. But yeah, so then once we've done that, we're just going to say copy to clipboard. So we're going to get the copy to clipboard feature, and we'll just say const input is equal to this.element.query set color input. That is correct. And once we've done that, we want to say input.select. Is it select? I think it's this. Yep, that's right. And then we're going to say document.execute command copy. There's a new API, clipboard API, that I'm going to look into later on, but for now we're gonna stick with this, and then we're going to blur it because we don't want it to be selected the whole time. We don't want to, the user shouldn't have to see it selected. We're then going to say this dot element dot class list dot add copied, and then we're going to set a timeout. Oh, it already knows what to do. And then we're going to say 1000, just like that, and then finish that off. So this class, right, so let me explain. So the reason I did it in the class is so we have something that's easy to use and it has all the features we need in just one place. So you can see here we've set all the features we need in one place. It's a lot easier to manage if you want to update and change it. It's super simple. And then what we're doing here is we're going to copy the element and then blur it, so we're not selected in here because it'll be selected like that else. And then we're just going to say this.add class copied, and then we're going to remove that copied class after a second, just so it looks like it. So we have some sort of interaction that shows it's been copied, right? But now we need to actually basically show this happening because we have no event listeners. Well, there's no, like if we click this, we click copy, we try and generate, nothing's going to happen. So let's go to const color elements is equal to document.query selector, and we're going to say .colors.color, and that should be good. And we're going to get an array of actual colors, so we'll say const colors is equal just to an empty array, and then we're going to loop through. So we're going to say for let yep, that is that should just say color though. I'd rather it say color than element, or color element underscore element. And then let's block that off. So there we go. That should be good. Color elements looks good. But before we do this, we want to get the input value. So we want to say color element.query selector color input so we can actually get it. We want to get const lock toggle is equal to color element.lock toggle. Perfect. And then const, and the final one is the copy hex, is it? Which should be equal to color element.copy hex. Is that correct? I don't remember. Copy hex. Yes, it is. There we go. So we've got our three elements we're going to need here. So we're then going to say const hex is equal to input.value. So we're going to get whatever the current value is, and we're just going to set it to the hex. Then we're going to say const color is equal to a new color hex and the color element. We're going to pass those through. You can see up in our class constructor we have the constructor with hex and element, and then under here what we're going to do is say color.push color. So that's fine, but we need to also say input.add event listener on input, and we're going to say color.set hex, and we're going to set the hex to e.target.value. So this is going to basically say anytime we change anything in here, it's going to set the value. So if we refresh and save and we change this to, let's say, white, it should set the color, but we need to actually set it. So color.set hex, color looks good. We're then going to go lock toggle. Add event listener, click locked, perfect. And finally, copy hex is click color, copy to clipboards. There we go. So that should be right. So for each color, I also open up F12 here just so we can see the console if anything goes wrong. And then before we actually push, we're just gonna say color.generate hex, and that should now, if we refresh, where's the error coming from? Let's do an error. For let serial color elements dot length document.query selector colors.color. Color elements should be right. Query. Oh, here we go. We missed the query selector all. I knew there was something wrong there, and there you go. You can see that's now generating colors. So if we hit spacebar, oh, nothing works. Well, that's obvious. But if we refresh the page, you can see we get a bunch of randomly generated colors, which for some reason come in quite a cool color palettes. Like they actually kind of match in some way, which is not intentional. This is random. But there you go. You see you got your colors. We can then lock this, and if we, oh no, I can't refresh because we can't hit generate. If I refresh, it's going to refresh that. That's fine. Let's add in the actual button functionality. So when we press space, we can actually do something. So underneath here, we're going to say document.query selector. And we're going to say generator hyphen button. It's a dot though. Is that right? Generator button dot add event listener. And we're going to say click, obviously like that. God, this is why I break things down when I record because it looks messy. And then we're just going to have an arrow function. And this arrow function is basically just going to go, we're just going to say for let I equal colors length, there you go, and generate a new hex. So if I now press this button, you can see it generates a new color. So if we now lock one of these colors in place and we regenerate, you can see it now only, look, if we just lock 3 and we only change 1, you can see only 1 changes. So there you go. You can see that's working as it should. Super straightforward, but we have one more thing to do. We need to actually be able to press the space bar. So we're going to say document.add event listener. We'll say click. We'll do an arrow function. And then we'll go, oh, we need to pass E because we need the E code. We'll say if e.code. Code, what is wrong with you? .to lowercase, because we want it to be lower, because we need to check it, space, and there you go. We could do something different here. So instead of rewrite, you know, we'll leave it, that's fine. So there you go. Now if we click here and we, to lowercase, guys, someone slapped me. I put click, we need to do key press, because of, oh, whoops. Key press, of course. Look, now clicks don't do anything. That's why I was so confused. I was like, why is that working? And then let's say if we copy, you can see it highlights red and we now have it in our clipboard. Let's just paste it down there. You can see if we copy this lovely yellow color, and there you go. You can see that's now all working. So let's bring this full screen and let's just refresh a few times. Let's refresh the actual screen. You can see it randomly generates. And if we click this button, it changes. If we press spacebar, you can change it super quick. Like, Jesus, look at the speed. And there you go. There's some colors. Let's lock these ones in place. Let's refresh. Oh, I tell you what, I love that color. Oh, I like that color too. You know, I don't like that one anymore. Oh, there we go. Look at that perfect color palette first time. I'm all over the place. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. If you've learned something new, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. If you really enjoyed this channel, then don't forget to leave a thumbs up and smash that subscribe button if you're new around here. Do you know why? Because it really does help me, and it's, you know, it's nice to know you guys like the content. If you like the content and you're subscribed, that means I'll do more videos. And I need to apologize, I haven't posted a video in a very long time. That's because I've been very busy, and more videos to come on that soon. That felt like a disclaimer thing, you know, at the end of a advert thing. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video and peace out.